Okay, so today we're gonna see another block, and this particular block is called point toward mouse pointer or any other sprite on your stage. Okay, so this particular block falls under same as before motion category, as well as is of type called stack. Stack means you can attach any block on the top as well as on the bottom, so you can stack one block on the top of another block. Okay, so now let's say what it says. So let's say you have a stage and you have a cat. Okay, so when you use a move block, as I mentioned before, if you use a move 10-step block, is going to move toward by default 90 degree, right? We saw that before couple of videos. Now let's say now you want regardless of degree, you want to point toward an object, or if you want to point toward your mouse pointer, right? So on your stage you can point. So when you select your cat and then you say that okay, point my cat toward my mouse direction. So let's say if my mouse is here, it will point into this direction, and then if you use the move, it will move toward your mouse pointer. Okay, if your mouse is pointing into this direction, your cat will start pointing into this direction and it will move into your so the basic idea is wherever you move your mouse, your cat will point toward that particular direction. Okay, now, and if you look at the drop down now, you can point toward your mouse direction as well as any other object is on your stage. So right now, I just took an example that my stage has a sprite called banana and a basketball. Okay, so you can say that okay, point my cat toward bananas, or so let's say or point my cat toward basketball, right? So if I have a basketball here, right? So let's say if I have a basketball, okay, so I said okay, point my cat toward basketball is going to point toward basketball, and when I use the move block, it will move, the cat will move toward basketball. So the reason behind this, that let's say you want to develop a game where cat wants to eat a banana or cat wants to play with the ball, so you have to move your cat toward a ball, or you want to move your cat toward bananas. Or this is just an example, but you can take any example. So let's say if you are developing a game where there is a police car, okay, and there is a thief, right? So so you want to point the police car move toward thief, right? So just an example. You can have as many as example you can come up with. So let's jump into a practical area where we can see how this exactly works. Okay, so thanks for watching, guys, and see you in a practical. So today we're gonna see another block practical called point toward a mouse pointer or point toward any other sprite on your stage. So let's so by default when you create a project, you have a cat sprite on your stage. So let's move a little bit on the side excuse me. And now let's if you are pointing into any other category, so go to motion, and under the motion you have a block called point toward mouse pointer. Okay, so as we saw in a previous section that you can point your sprite to your mouse pointer or any other object on your stage. So as you can see right now, this particular block, if you look at the drop down, it has only says point toward mouse pointer. there is no banana, or there is no ball, or there is no other any other sprite I can point to, because I don't have I only have a cat sprite on my sprite list, right? And I only have one sprite on my stage. Okay, so now let's go to your library, choose sprite from your library. So you just click on this, and I'm gonna add one I'm gonna add a basketball, as we mentioned before. So now this basketball and my cat is on my stage. So now now see, as soon as you add a new sprite, this sprite will be selected. So now if you want your cat to move, if you want your cat to point toward basketball, you want to first select your cat, right? So as we mentioned before, that any sprite you want to work on, you want to select it here, and then you drag your block, right? Okay, so now as soon as I added a new basketball on my stage, now you come back to, and okay, first you select your cat, you look at the drop down, now has a basketball. So if I click on this, if I select a basketball, now cat is pointing toward my basketball. But now let's check, I'm going to move my basketball in the stage toward this particular degree, right? Now as soon as I did that, cat did not point toward, right? So now I have double click this particular block. So I'm going to double click this guy, right? It's going to execute, it's going to run this script, and it's going to point my cat toward basketball, right? So if I use a move and double click move, it's going to move toward basketball. Okay, now you have to remember one thing, that if I move my ball again, it's not going to move right away, right? Because you have to double click every time you have to point. You want to double click this particular block, right? Now we will look at in a future tutorial that how can we point your cat always toward the ball, right? So if I just gives you the brief idea, I want, if you look at this if you look at this control, and there is a block called forever, right? So if I enclose this point toward with forever, now what I just said, that you are you are pointing your cat toward basketball forever. So if I double click this entire block, right now it is pointing, as you can see the highlight, right? This particular block is running. Okay, it's kind of forever, it's happening. So if I now move my ball, look at this, the cat is moving, right? Yeah, wherever I move my ball, cat is moving, right? So we will look at in the future tutorial what this particular forever block is, and we'll go into more detail. Okay, so right now again I have only one block. I move my ball again, it's not going to move my cat or turn my cat toward ball. I have to double click to run this particular block in order to point my cat toward ball. Okay, so just play around with this particular block. This is very straightforward. Now I'm gonna go back and select my mouse pointer, right? So now it's not, if I move my ball and if I run this particular block, it's not going to point toward my ball, right? It's going to point toward my mouse. My mouse is right now here, but let's say if my mouse is here, and if I double click, yeah, see, because right now, see, in order for this to work, I have to keep my mouse on the stage always, right? So I'm going to do it one more time with the forever, and now look at this. So this is my mouse pointer. The cat is pointing toward or rotating toward my mouse pointer. Okay, so I can do this, I can so it's fun. So let's go back and detach this one, and now it's not going to point. Okay, so now you got an idea, right? You get an idea, the very brief idea about how to use this particular block. It's located under motion, point toward mouse pointer. Okay, so yeah, in a future tutorial we'll go into a detail of other blocks and how to use this block in a real application. And please give us a feedback what kind of project you want to see in the future videos. And thanks for watching.